Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, lovely ladies. Today we are talking about meal prep again. So part one, let me give a little recap for those of you that might not have seen the video. But we talked about why we want to meal prep. So I went into a little bit of my backstory on why I started meal prepping and the success that I earned from that. Good morning, Wendy. But we also talked about meal prepping allowing you to be more balanced and allowing you to have the opportunity to not have to sporadically guess on what you're actually consuming. And so with that being said, we're going to kind of build upon that today, and we're going to talk about where to begin if you haven't ever meal prepped, or those of you that are meal prepping pros. Please comment below on other suggestions and ideas that you have, things that you find as staples that you integrate into your routine. Good morning, Christina. So I love to have one meal done. Good morning, Corinne. Dude, you guys, Corinne said that she was going to join me this morning, and I have to say, I was like, I don't know, it's pretty early, Corinne. You going to get up? Look, she did. Watch out. So, I'm sorry, I digress. I'm just really excited you guys are here. Thanks. But if you are watching this on the replay later on, hashtag replay, hashtag meal prep, let me know what your favorite thing is to meal prep below. I know for me, one of the things that you guys hear me talk about a lot is my little egg cups. And so I can link that recipe down below, but super simple, easy. You take egg whites, throw in whatever vegetables that are going to potentially be going bad during the week. Sometimes I'll actually, do some turkey sausage in there if I have time and I have it. If not, I'll actually take a piece of turkey bacon and just cut it in half and swirl it around in the muffin pan and be like, boop, there you go. So, I mean, those are done in 20 minutes, and they took me all of, 25 minutes to prep and cook and be done. And I love those because then I can add them to a breakfast, a lunch, or a dinner, or I can even just have them as a snack, and they're an easy FP. But let's keep going there. For breakfast, for meal prepping, I would have to say for me personally, meal prepping breakfast is the most important part of the day. I know you guys have heard me talk about breakfast numerous times, so I will not beat a dead horse with that. But I feel like having a good start and a foundation every single morning without me scrambling and rushing to figure out how I'm going to stay on plan at the very beginning of the day just makes for a more seamless transition into the day. It kind of sets me up for a little bit better success. But for you, that might be different. So maybe it's not breakfast. Maybe breakfast is pretty easy for you because, you're at home and you feel like that's the one meal that is easy, that I can sit down and have a little bit more time in the mornings to get things done. But when I'm running around like crazy in the afternoons or in the evening, maybe that's the meal that you would like to prep. So I would say when time is not your friend, when it's not in abundance, that's the meal that you want to have prepped. And so for some of you guys, that's lunch, because you want to make sure you're not running back and forth to work, or that you have something with you. That's okay too. But the easiest way to start, I would say, is to say one meal. Have one meal that you're going to prep when you start prepping, and then know that that's going to give you the success. So with that, I would also say to keep it simple. So if you happen to use your one meal as a snack, you don't have to cook to call it meal prep. Okay. I think so oftentimes we have the misconception that we're going to have to spend hours and hours in the kitchen, that we're going to have to, double and triple, quadruple everything. And that is not necessarily the case, right? So you can easily do yogurt and keto granola. Those are a great S meal. Those are a great way for you to have something that's quick and easy. Throw you some berries over in there too, put everything in a baggie and set it up, for success in the fridge. So for me, what I like to do too is I did a post about this a few weeks ago about having certain specific areas in the fridge that I know are different leftovers or different meals that are prepped. And so usually for breakfast, if I have a lot of things that kind of go together like that, I will put them in a Tupperware container and place them in the fridge. So I'll have 5 yogurts with 5 little baggies of granola with like either, if it's like blueberries, I'll just stick it in there with it. But if not, you know, I'll kind of cut up the fruit and put it in a bag as well. And so then that way I know literally I just have to grab that and go. And like if I'm on the road for breakfast, I didn't have to do anything except grab it out before we left, right? And so do know that we don't have to prep. So like another snack would be like, you know, a cheese stick with some fruit or smoothies. And so I know when I was working full time, I would oftentimes on Sunday, and I'll kind of get into this in regards to my meal prepping day, but on Sunday, I would meal prep all of my smoothies for the week. And so what I would do is I would, you know, double or triple them, and I'd put them all in the blender, if the blender would fit that much. Sometimes it wouldn't, but and then I'd put them in like little shaker bottle containers, right? So if you guys have used those during your workouts or post-workout, that's what I'm kind of talking about, the ones with like the little middle ball in them. And so you take that ball out, we don't want to use that, but we put all of our shake inside and we stick it in the freezer, okay? And then, you know, if you're going to have it as an afternoon snack, you pull it out in the morning when you have your coffee, put a little sticky note on your coffee pot, pull out smoothie. So you pull it out, you sit it on the counter. And then if you're going to go somewhere, you just take that ball, stick it in there. And by mid-afternoon, it's nice and slushy, depending on the temperature of your house. And, you know, oh my gosh, it's hotter than Hades out in Texas right now. Literally, it was like 107 yesterday. I kid you not. So with that, I mean, I could probably have it for mid-morning snack instead of mid-afternoon snack, but you know, you kind of get the gist of that. So I know other people that instead of making the full and entire shake, they'll just actually have a little condiment containers, and they'll put everything they need for the shake that's in dry ingredients already there. And then some people will even take the wet ingredients and put them in a mason jar to where it makes it really, really easy just to like dump and go, you know. So those are all options for you too, and that is meal prepping, okay? And I also wanted to talk about the difference between like meal prepping and food prepping and how they both kind of coincide and they allow for an easier time on both if you can get them done. And so with food prepping, this is going to be the things that you do when you bring your food home from the grocery store. So for me, like if I have vegetables that I'm going to have for a salad, a lot of times I'll cut them up and put them all in like a bin. So then that way, when I know I need to make the salad, I just have to like, you know, add the toppings and they're already cut. Or for fruit, I don't ever put any fruit in my fridge that's not already washed. And so this is why I don't meal prep on the same day that I go to the grocery store. So when I go to the grocery store, I always make sure to get, you know, a few food prep things done before I put them into the fridge. But I don't actually meal prep on the same day that I grocery shop because for me, it's just too exhausting. You know, call me a weenie and I'm okay with that. But it just becomes too cumbersome for me. And so I know expectation and realization wise that like, it's just not going to be feasible for me to get all of that done. Lord have mercy, if I take all 3 of the kids to the grocery store, it's just a miracle if we all get back in one piece, right? And I didn't forget 17 things on my list that I have to go back to the grocery store for. So I celebrate those small successes and I kind of keep those in, you know, in line. So for example, yesterday I had bananas that were going bad. Part of my food prep is taking those out and putting them in the freezer. So like I take them, I peel them, and then I just put them in a little bag. Have any of you guys do this? Please tell me I'm not alone on this. So this makes the best baked banana products. If you will freeze them, you know, if they're going to go bad and you freeze them first, so it crystallizes the sugar in the banana and it just intensifies the flavor and makes, I feel like, the baked goods feel a little bit sweeter too. And so with that being said, I did that yesterday. It literally took me like 2 minutes to do, but that's food prep. So like I put 2 bananas in a sack and then I put multiple sacks because I bought a whole bunch of bananas thinking that my kids would eat them, but you know, they didn't. But if you don't have a banana, that's when they're like, banana, I need a banana. And you're like, I didn't buy any bananas because the last 3 weeks I've had like freezers of bananas because you kids aren't eating them, right? So I digress. Sorry. Corinne says she's done it for smoothies. Yes, I agree. And so like with the Frisky, I think that that is a great place to start with the smoothies as well. And that one's a really good one. I don't know if you guys have tried that recipe, but it tastes just like a Wendy's Frosty. It tastes just like that. That's one of my favorite ones. But With that, I will say that's food prep. Okay, washing your vegetables, washing your fruit, getting things in line, chopping out onions if you want to do that beforehand. I personally like to buy the Pig Sweet seasoning blend because it makes it easy and I don't have to chop onions. But sometimes, like before I go to the grocery store, I see something that got lost in the back of the fridge, a fresh fruit or vegetable, and I'm like, oh snap. Okay, well, you're pretty much done, and I know nobody's going to eat you in this state, and so I'll chop you up and I'll freeze you, and then I use it later on as well. So those are just a couple of tips for me in regards to food prep. But one of the other things that I wanted to say in regards to starting small, last thing, I promise, is that we should make a menu, okay? And so I know I say that menu, and you guys are like, I hate making a menu, okay? So I posted about this yesterday, so go back and check it out if you didn't happen to see it. But I have found when you are beginning to make a meal prep menu, one of the best things to do is just to kind of have a theme to help you guide where those meals are going to come from. So like, for example, Monday I had like a meatless Monday, and Tuesday you could do like Taco Tuesday, or for me, a lot of times I'll either pick like Mexican or Italian. Wednesdays, you can push back and do a certain theme, so like if you had like Fish Fridays, you could do that. A lot of times for me, personally, Fridays are usually a leftover day. Saturdays I have a little bit more time, and so I will usually, cook something that's a little bit more in depth on a Saturday. If we're really busy, I'll do a crock pot meal. So knowing what your actual calendar looks like when you make the menu is going to be key to your success. So not picking to make, a crock pot meal if you're not going to be home all day, or picking something that's very exorbitant on a Friday afternoon when you're going to be exhausted and just feel like sitting on the couch and like doing absolutely nothing. So think about those things when you make the plan. But I think having a themed plan does take some of the guesswork out of it, because I don't know if you guys are like this, but when you talk about like writer's block, and so you like sit in front of the computer and you're like, I don't know what to say. I feel like it's the same thing when we talk about menus. So you're like, I don't know where to go with this, right? But if you had kind of like a little template or outline, like I was talking about, it does make it a little bit easier to kind of plug and play with. So the other thing that you can do easy peasy is to thaw your meat ahead of time. So like if I already know what I'm going to have for my menu, then on Sunday when I start my meal prep, I will make sure to have everything like already thawed. And so one of the things that I could do, depending on when I go to the grocery store, is making sure that those things are done. So then that way when the meal prep starts, I'm not having to like wait 45 minutes for the meat to thaw, right? So a lot of this, like I said, is kind of backwards planning. It's also making sure that you have a plan, okay? And so for me, I always meal prep on the same day. So like it's just kind of set as that reoccurring appointment with myself to get something done. And so if that is something that you're having a hard time with, I would say to plan it. So it's just like exercise. It's just like walking the dog. It's just like doing all of the things that you don't really love to do. You don't make time for them unless they're like on your calendar, right? And so for me, I know every Sunday when we get done with church, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to meal prep some, right? And so I have a plan B. Like a lot of times I try to have the grocery store done, like I was saying earlier. But if it's been really crazy, I couldn't get it done, I have to do grocery store on Sunday, which makes for a long and unrestful Sunday. I know. You can like slap my hand because it's supposed to be a Sabbath and a day of rest. But if something happens and it gets crazy, then I go to the grocery store after church on Sunday, and then after that, I food prep, okay? So knowing that I'm going to do this and this is what I have on my calendar and it's what I'm supposed to be doing at this specific time holds me accountable to do it, okay? Because if I just say, I'm going to do it sometime during this weekend will come and it will go and it will be Saturday, it'll be Sunday afternoon and I'll be like, I just can't start that now. Like I will tell myself that, I'm just too tired. And I am too tired in a lot of ways. But if I kind of make the appointment for myself and keep myself accountable to it, I'm more likely to kind of get it done. So the other thing is to kind of set a limit on that time frame. So, you could have a list of things that you would like to get prepped. And so for me, I love like browning my meat ahead of time. So, I will sometimes do extra prep on the back end of making a meal. So like you guys saw last week when I made the waffles, like I did make an abundance of waffles, but with that, I used them throughout the entire next week for me and the boys as breakfast. And so it is a little bit more time just to make that many, waffles, pancakes, whatever it is. But I set myself up for success for days in advance. The same thing happens. Good morning. Good morning. The same thing happens for, ground beef. So a lot of times, like if I'm going to make something with ground beef, when I make the ground beef, like for, let's say, spaghetti on a Sunday afternoon, I'm going to also double that. And then before I season it, I'm going to take out half of it. I'm going to stick it in the fridge because I know I'm going to do tacos on Tuesday, right? And so it just allows you to have a few little cut corners to make sure that you can have a smoother transition into the rest of the week. Okay. So if this is something that interests you, if meal prepping is something that you struggle with, good morning, Carol. If it is something that you feel like you have a hard time staying consistent with, that you would like more ideas with, do know that my group coaching in August is all about meal prep. That's what we are talking about all month long. We'll have daily posts, we'll have weekly lives, we will have challenges. And so it would be a great opportunity for you to kind of get in and start that routine if this isn't something that you are doing that you want to do. School starting back, it would be nice to already have a routine and know what is going on with you and your food to set yourself up for success for the next following school year. And those of you that aren't teachers are involved in a school too, know that, we're halfway through the year. And if you haven't met your goals, if you aren't where you want to be by this time, there is still time. We are, a little bit over halfway through the year and you can still meet your goals. But it might be that prepping is the key to success in that. It might be that you just need a little bit more organization to make things easier, to take the guesswork out of it and to allow yourself to have success already planned out for you. So know that that is an option for you too. But if you guys have specific questions about meal prepping, you can DM me or you can leave it in the comments below. I'm completely okay with that either way. I will get back to you and try to answer all those questions accordingly. But I do so very much appreciate you guys coming in so early in the morning to listen. And I will see you guys next week. So next week we're wrapping up the series on meal prepping, and we're going to talk about specific things in regards to what I enjoy meal prepping for. Hey Kelly, good morning. So I'll be talking about some breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack options that I enjoy. But if you guys have favorites, next week would be a great time to join in. So then that way we could kind of, glean together and see what we all enjoy that are different. So I know a lot of times what I like might not be something that you like or something that I've forgotten. We get into the ruts of having the exact same thing all the time. And so if we can bounce each other ideas off, I think that would be good for next week as well. But I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your Wednesday. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.